First of all, I'd like to discuss my objectives for the talk. And my first objective is understanding the real definition of transgender. Then, my second objective is analyzing their ignorant history in various aspects. Then, my third objective is comprehending the portrayal of transgender in Indian mythology. Then, my next objective is indication of transgender in movies. And my other objective is understanding how literature puts forth transgender, that is, indication of transgender in literature. Then my last objective is my personal views upon their contemporary position. So, before starting, we all need to know the real definition of transgender and why it became a topic to discuss. Basically, transgender is a part of a community called LGBT, which stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. This functions as an umbrella term for sexuality and gender identity. Transgender is a general term that describes people whose gender identity or their internal sense of being male, female, or others does not match the gender they were assigned at the birth. अगर आसान भाषा में बोले तो जब हमारा जन्म होता है तो डॉक्टर्स हमारे शरीर को देखकर ये बताते हैं कि हम मेल हैं या फीमेल, पर कुछ लोगों की जेंडर आइडेंटिटी मतलब उनका इंटरनल नॉलेज कि वो क्या है वो उनके बर्थ जेंडर से अलग होता है और ऐसे लोगों को ही हम ट्रांसजेंडर कहते हैं. According to India Census 2011, which is the latest census for transgender population calculation, there are 4.8 million Indians identified as transgender. हमारे देश में ट्रांसजेंडर के लिए अपने आप को समझना और जेंडर ट्रांजिशन की शुरुआत करना एक बहुत बड़ी बात है, क्योंकि ट्रांसजेंडर सोशल स्टिग्मा और हरासमेंट से सफ़र करते हैं जब वो दूसरों को ये बताते हैं कि वो असल में कौन है. तो अब मैं समाज में ट्रांसजेंडर की इग्नोरेंस हिस्ट्री के बारे में बात करूंगी. As we all know, human is a social animal and society plays a significant role in the person's life. In India, if we ask people what they know about trans people, then most of them will only answer that they have seen them begging near traffic signals and inside train. Some will start complaining about their bad behavior. This is the harsh reality of many trans people in India. But the fact we often ignore or doesn't even recognize is that we as a society are responsible for their condition. Being disowned by their own families and harsh treatment from other people in the society leads to their so-called bad behavior. Lack of jobs often forces them to begging and prostitution. According to 2011 census, the literacy rate of trans people in India is 56.07%. And according to a study conducted by the National Human Resource Commission in 2018, 96% transgenders are denied jobs and are forced to undignified jobs like badhai, sex work, and begging, etc. Recently, a trans woman, Sabigiri, who had been posted as a sailor in the Indian Navy, was sacked from her job because of her transition. This was done without considering a transfer in other department. India's first trans woman principal, Manabi Bandopadhyay, resigned from her job because her colleagues were not cooperative. Sanvi Panusamy was refused a job in Air India due to her being trans. And the incidents like these are still happening. The first ever study on the rights of transgender also revealed that about 92% of transgenders are deprived the rights to participate in any form of economic activity in the country. एक क्वालिफाइड ट्रांसजेंडर को भी नौकरी मिलने की चांस सिर्फ 4% है. और अगर एजुकेशन की बात करें तो 52% ट्रांसजेंडर अपने क्लासमेट द्वारा और 15% ट्रांसजेंडर खुद अपने टीचर्स द्वारा हरास किए जाते हैं ताकि वो अपनी पढ़ाई छोड़ दें. यही हमारे समाज की सच्चाई है. From the British rule till today, transgender along with the other members of LGBT community are left on the margins of society because of our deep-rooted patriarchal mindset. It was April 2014 when trans people got legal recognition from the Supreme Court of India. Then, in the year 2016, Transgender Rights Bill was passed in Rajya Sabha, and in the year 2018, it got passed in Lok Sabha as well. This bill was introduced by the present Bharatiya Janata Party government. In the same year, Supreme Court of India scrapped Section 377 of Indian Penal Code for homosexuality. In our so-called inclusive Indian society, ट्रांसजेंडर्स को कई नामों से बुलाते हैं हम, और उन नामों में से एक नाम है हिजरा कम्युनिटी का. The term hijra is often used as a derogatory term to mock or abuse. The hijra community in our country is a socio-cultural community. This community has been mentioned in ancient literature also, but they are still not accepted by the society. आज के समाज में जब हम ट्रांसजेंडर्स को इतना नीचा समझते हैं, वहीं हमारी इंडियन माइथोलॉजी में इन्हें बराबर का दर्जा मिला है, और कहीं कहीं तो हम इन्हें भगवान की तरह भी पूजते हैं. तो अब मैं बात करूंगी हमारी इंडियन माइथोलॉजी में ट्रांसजेंडर आइडेंटिटी के बारे में. If we look back in the history, in our Indian mythology, there were trans people who were called kinnars. They were placed alongside yakshas and gandharvas, and the concept of tritiya prakriti or napunsak had always been an integral part of our Indian society. अगर हम पुरानिक माइथोलॉजी में ट्रांस कैरेक्टर्स के बारे में बात करें तो मोहिनी का नाम सबसे पहले आता है. मोहिनी is the feminine avatar of Lord Vishnu. The Mahabharata describes the first appearance of Mohini when the Devas and Asuras had churned the ocean with the assistance of Vishnu as a Kurma avatar to acquire Amrit. Using her charm, she had to separate the fight between Devas and Asuras and provide the Amrit to Devas. Mohini reappears again in Mahabharata. As Aravana, the son of Arjun and Ulupi, was offered to be killed to goddess Kali to ensure the victory of Pandavas in Kurukshetra war. The only condition was that Aravan should spend the last night of his life as a married man. No woman was willing and came forward to marry Aravan, as he was going to be killed after the marriage. Then Lord Vishnu took the form of Mohini and married Aravan. This is the reason why Hijras of Tamil Nadu call themselves as Aravanis. Now, if we talk about transgenders in Ramayana, when Lord Rama was banished from his kingdom and he was asked to spend 14 years in the forest, then his followers followed him to the forest, but he requested all the men and women to return back to the city of Ayodhya. The transgender individuals stayed back with Lord Ram. Lord Ram was greatly moved by their love and loyalty and sanctioned them power to confer blessing on auspicious occasions like marriage, childbirth, etc. Another known trans character from our mythology is Shikhandi. In Mahabharata, after being abducted by Bhishma for his step-brother and rejected by him in his marriage, Princess Amba took her life and swore to take revenge from Bhishma. Amba was reborn to King Drupad and named Shikhandini. As the story went, she changed her sex to become Shikhandi. The first battle of Kurukshetra, Bhishma recognized him as woman and forced to lower his weapon as Shikhandi rode the chariot of Arjuna. Arjun hid behind Shikhandi and attacked Bhishma with his arrows. Although Shikhandi was instrumental in Bhishma's death, but he helped in the victory of Pandavas. Another iconic trans mythological character is Ardhanarishwar. Ardhanarishwar is an androgynous composite of Shiva and Parvati. Different Puranas have different reasons behind this form. Ardhanarishwar is known as the perfect combination of Purush and Prakriti. Even today, Ardhanarishwar is considered as the symbol of transgender community. There are numerous other transgender characters in our Indian mythology that indicates the early existence of transgender. तो मैं अब अगले ऑब्जेक्टिव की ओर बढ़ती हूँ और मेरा अगला यह ऑब्जेक्टिव है मूवीज में ट्रांसजेंडर इंडिकेशन के बारे में. The next history of transgender representation in cinema is important because it explores the lives and emotions of trans people. This genre of cinema used to be referred as cross-dressing cinema, but now thankfully it is referred as transgender cinema. In the case of representation of transgender community or LGBT, Indian cinema has been lacking. But there are some movies that explores different aspects of transgender community very well. Many renowned actors have played transgender character with finesse. Let us explore some famous Indian movies that are globally recognized for representing the lives of transgender effectively. And the first movie is Daira, which was released in 1996. Many of you might not even have heard about this 1996 movie Daira. And one of the main reasons behind its unpopularity is its sensitive nature. The film's plot revolves around the love story between an abducted young woman who has forcibly dressed up like a man and a transvestite dancer. Veteran actor Amol Palekar created this phenomenal movie, starring Nirmal Pandey and Sonali Kulkarni. Daira received a great critical acclaim. This story reflects the romantic and social life of transgender persons so vividly that it is now one of the most acclaimed movies in the world. Although this is a black and white movie, but every scene of the movie is portrayed very beautifully. And it truly justifies its theme, that is, everyone can love even if it is a transgender person. Despite dealing with so many sensitive issues, this movie is a lot more entertaining. Now, my next movie from my list is Tamanna. Tamanna was released in 1997, directed by Mahesh Bhatt and starred by Paresh Rawal, Sharad Kapoor, and Pooja Bhatt. Tamanna is one of the most compelling movies made in India that deals with transgender community. This movie really challenges the norms of society. In this movie, Paresh Rawal plays the character of Tiki, a transgender woman. Tamanna's story revolves around Tiki, who brings up an abandoned girl child as her own, despite the obstruction of Indian society. In one of the scenes of this movie, when Tiki nurtures the girls as her own child, it really states that motherhood is not related to a person's gender. The plot of movie is so engaging that it got praise from critics and general public. Even today, children are mostly adopted by the transgenders. The beautiful story of this movie touched the hearts of several viewers and is still a relevant movie in our country. And now, another popular movie from the 20s is Darmiyan in Between. This movie was released in 1997. Directed by Kalpana Lajmi, Darmiya in Between might be one of the boldest movies ever made in India. Set in 1940s, Darmiyan's story revolves around the life of a narcissist actress and her transgender son. This Kiran Kher, Arif Zakaria and Tabu starrer movie is an excellent representation that allows you to get a glimpse into the lives of transgender community. Some scenes in the movie are excruciatingly painful that you might have difficulty watching the entire thing. The best part about this film is that it does not sugarcoat the tough lives of transvestite people in India. It deals with their hardships in a straightforward manner. Another reality-based movie from Indian cinema is Shabnam Mausi. It was released in 2005. Shabnam Mausi is a 1998 based movie starring Ashutosh Rana. This movie is based on real life politicians Shabnam Banu, who fought for the rights of transgender community. The plot of the movie revolves around her life as a member of a transvestite community and the hardships faced by her. This inspiring story will put a smile on your face. Ashutosh Rana got a lot of acclaim for this amazing movie. Another popular movie from our Indian cinema is Super Deluxe. Super Deluxe was released in 2019. It is one of the most popular Tamil movie of recent times that deals with a lot of different aspects of Indian society. One of them is being the transgender community. Although there are different subplots in the movie, but the plot with the transvestite community garnered people's attention towards it. Playing the said character, Vijay Sethupathi did a great job in portraying the life of a transgender. Another remarkable movie is Lakshmi, released in 2020. Akshay Kumar and Kiara Advani starring Lakshmi is the latest major Hindi horror comedy movie that reflects the lives of transgender community in India to some extent. Although the major star of the movie is Akshay Kumar, yet it was Sharat Kelkar who genuinely garnered the audience's attention. His portrayal of the titular transgender character, Lakshmi, will remain in people's mind for a long time. These movies emphasized more on the sensitive topics that we normally don't talk about and explored the world of transvestite community. हम सब ये मानते हैं कि साहित्य समाज का दर्पण है, तो अब मैं बात करूंगी लिटरेचर में ट्रांसजेंडर इंडिकेशन के बारे में. No matter what the conservatives say about transgender, it is not a new thing in India. The rich literature about homosexuality, transgenderism, and gender fluidity, from the epics to scriptures to art and architecture, are all the evidence of their existence. Even before the Supreme Court of India scrapped Section 377 for homosexuality, literature was being written and read actively. Chocolate, a 1924 short story by Hindi writer Pandey Bechan Sharma, examined homoerotic desires, while Lihaf, a 1942 short story by Urdu writer Ismat Chugtai, subtly explored lesbianism. I have chosen few books from our Indian literature that explores the transgender life very well. And the first book is Cobalt Blue by Sachin Kundalkar. It narrates the story of two siblings, brothers and sister, who fell in love with the mysterious young man staying at the home as a paying guest. Both of them develop feelings for him individually without other being aware. Kundalkar has wonderfully explored the blurred nature of human transgression and middle class aspiration. The story is narrated from the siblings' perspective as a set of monologue. Cobalt Blue is an engrossingly tender story of heartbreak and longing which amplified displays the widely transformative power of love. Another remarkable book is A Life of Trans Activism by A. Revati. The book provides a glimpse into the life of an extraordinary person and the reader is challenged to think beyond simplistic gender and sex binaries. The book, published in 2016, explored the change in Revati's life after becoming a recognized authority of trans issues. Due to the success of her memoir, The Truth About Me, a Hijra life story, Revati describes her life, her fight for the right of trans people, and how she rose. She also takes a length about experiences of trans men whose stories don't get discussed much compared to those of trans women. Now, another phenomenal book is Red Lipstick, The Men in My Life by Lakshmi. Red Lipstick is written in collaboration with Pooja Pandey and published in 2016. It provides a no-hold-barred account of her remarkable life with its ups and downs. It is a sensational story of sexual awakening and self-acceptance, charting her journey from a simple child to a living icon. This book narrates about all hardships and hurdles that come into her life and how she embraces a Hijra identity for herself. Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi, simply known as Lakshmi, is the first transgender person to represent Asia Pacific at the United Nations. These pieces of literature helped a lot in broadening the mindset of Indian society, and it explored the real life and emotional life of trans people. And this needs to go on. So, I want to put forward my personal views upon contemporary position of trans people. Transgender and other members of LGBT community deserve equal respect rather than being ignored. This ignorance and lack of understanding about trans people in Indian society needs to be changed as soon as possible. And it can only be changed by spreading awareness among the people and giving proper education, job, and respect to the trans peoples, along with the laws protecting them from any type of harassment. They really need our support and cooperation for their upliftment. And for that, we need to start from our own locality. In our Shyam Lal College evening, Enactus Society held a discussion program called Kids and Allies in 2021 to spread awareness about trans people. Amidst all darkness, we received some good news too. K. Pritika Yashni is the first IPS officer. Jyotika Mondal became first civil court judge. Anjali Amir became first trans actress to play a lead role, and Natasha Biswas was crowned as trans queen in India. No doubt, their journeys must have been difficult for their achievement. But their achievement have given adequate answer for the people who thought trans people are incapable. While the struggle for equality and dignity is still going on, and by supporting and cooperating with them, we can witness a better tomorrow. Thank you all for listening me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhavya. You explained really very nicely, and we all got a very good suggestions for books and movies also for transgender. So we have some queries from our audience. We would be taking them one by one. So the first question is from Shivanshu. He is asking, do you think that now also their condition is worse in society, and the reason is stereotypes or mindset of people for them?
Yes, I truly think that stereotype is the main reason. क्योंकि अगर देखा जाए तो ट्रांसजेंडर का बर्थ होते ही अपने पेरेंट्स खुद मतलब ट्रांसजेंडर्स को छोड़ देते हैं, क्योंकि हम लोगों ने ट्रांसजेंडर होना अपनी डिग्निटी से रिलेट कर लिया है। मतलब कि अगर किसी के घर में ट्रांसजेंडर होगा तो वो मतलब एक डिग्निफाइड फैमिली नहीं मानी जाती है। तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा स्टीरियोटाइप है, और इसी कारण हम एजुकेशन में देखें या किसी भी और फील्ड में देखें, जैसे कि जॉब अपॉर्चुनिटीज में या मेडिकल फील्ड में, कहीं भी ट्रांसजेंडर को मौका नहीं मिलता है, क्योंकि लोग ये समझते हैं कि ट्रांसजेंडर के आने से माहौल खराब हो जाएगा। क्योंकि उन्हें, और जब हम जॉब नहीं दे सकते हैं उन्हें, तो उनके पास और कोई रास्ता नहीं बचता है बेगिंग और प्रोस्टिट्यूशन के अलावा। तो ये सोचकर हम उन्हें ये कहते हैं कि मतलब वो हमारा माहौल खराब करेंगे, पर हम उन्हें चांस भी नहीं देते हैं कि वो अपना।
Yeah, next question.
Okay. So the next question is from Shubhi Singh. She's asking, do you think portrayal of transgender in more and more movies will improve their contemporary situation in society?
यस, क्योंकि मूवीज हर कोई देखता है, और मूवीज एक इंटरटेनमेंट की तरह हम लोग देखते हैं। बट इंटरटेनमेंट के साथ साथ अगर हम मूवीज में कुछ एजुकेशन भी डालेंगे तो लोगों के दिमाग में थोड़ा ब्रॉडनिंग होगी, थोड़ी माइंडसेट उनका चेंज होगा। तो इसीलिए मुझे लगता है कि मूवीज में ज्यादा ट्रांसजेंडर का पोर्ट्रेयल अच्छी बात है।
Okay, so the next question is from Himanshu. He's asking what we individuals can do on our level to improve their conditions in society.
फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी नीड टू बी सेल्फ अवेयर, क्योंकि हमें पहले तो खुद को अवेयर करना चाहिए कि बहुत लोग होते हैं कि वो ट्रांसजेंडर से बात करने में या फिर वो पास आ जाते हैं तो लोग डरने लगते हैं। पता नहीं ये डर किस बात का है, बट ये है कि कई लोग मतलब अवेयर नहीं होते हैं कि ट्रांसजेंडर भी इंसान है और उन्हें भी बुरा लगता है। तो ये बात है कि हमें मतलब पहले खुद अवेयर होना चाहिए, फिर हमें दूसरों को भी अवेयर करने की कोशिश करनी चाहिए। यही हम कर सकते हैं।
Okay, so the last question is from Drishti Singh. She is asking what is the foremost reason of unexpected essence of transgender community?
Can you
Okay, I am repeating the question. She's asking what is the foremost reason of unexpected essence of transgender community? That what could be the reason that why we aren't respecting them, or what according to you is the main reason?
जैसा कि मैंने पहले भी बोला कि क्योंकि ट्रांसजेंडर का एक स्टीरियोटाइप वर्क हो गया है, बेगिंग और प्रोस्टिट्यूशन, तो यही चीज़ हर एक इंडियन के दिमाग में है कि ये यही काम करते हैं। तो इसके कारण लोग उन्हें मतलब एक डिग्निफाइड उससे नहीं देखते हैं, और जो ट्रांसजेंडर सक्सेसफुल भी हैं हमें उन्हें उनके बारे में ज़्यादा पता नहीं है, तो इस वजह से हम उन्हें थोड़ा इनडिग्निफाइड समझते हैं।
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Bhavya. Now, please tell us about your experience of working with Graduate Scholar Talk series.
It was a great experience, and I would uh, like to thank everyone, Manish sir, and all the moderators who have helped me for presenting my uh, presenting my GSTS talk. And thank you all. That's it.
थैंक यू सो मच भव्य, आपने काफी सहजता से हमें एलजीबीटी के अधिकार, उनका हमारे इतिहास में भूमिका एवं और भी कई महत्वपूर्ण तथ्यों से अवगत कराया। इसी के साथ आगे बढ़ते हुए नाउ आई वुड लाइक टू इनवाइट आवर रेस्पेक्टेड गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर फॉर हिज फाइनल रिमार्क्स अबाउट द टॉक।
सबसे पहले तो मैं भाग्या मिश्रा, जिस बच्ची ने आज अपना प्रेजेंटेशन दिया, मैं उसको सबसे पहले तो बहुत बधाई देना चाहूँगा कि कितनी सहजता से और कितने अच्छे शब्दों में इस बच्ची ने अपनी बात को व्यक्त किया। ऐसा मुझे करीब आज 15 साल से ज़्यादा इस फील्ड में काम करते करते हो गए हैं, और मैं महसूस करता हूँ कि कुछ कम ही ऐसे स्पीकर्स कहूँगा मिल पाए हैं जिनमें मैं इस बच्ची का भी शुमार करूँगा कि इसने आज अपने प्रेजेंटेशन में बहुत अच्छी तरह से उन चीज़ों को प्रस्तुत किया है जो सामान्यतः एक लेक्चर में सिमट कर नहीं आ पाती है। तो ये अपने आप में बहुत बड़ी बात है, खास तौर पर जो हिस्टोरिकल प्रोस्पेक्ट में जिस तरह से डिफरेंट कैरेक्टर्स की बात भाग्या मिश्रा ने की, जिस तरह से कई हिस्टोरिकल और ऐतिहासिक चरित्र को जिनकी जानकारी मुझे लगता है कि बहुत कम लोगों को है, अगर है भी तो उतना डीप तरीके से वो उन चीज़ों को नहीं समझ पाते हैं। मुझे बड़ी अच्छी तरह से याद है मोहिनी का जो कैरेक्टर एग्जाम्पल दिया, ये कितना एक अद्भुत एग्जाम्पल है। इसी तरह से मैं इसके अंदर एक ऐड कर दूं, भृंगलाला का जो एग्जाम्पल था अर्जुन के संदर्भ में, 1 साल तक उस कितना काम आया, वो उस एक कर्स होते हुए भी कितना काम आया। इसी तरह से एक लॉर्ड मर्करी का एग्जाम्पल भी अक्सर हम अपनी बातचीत के अंदर देते हैं। तो मैं उस पक्ष पर बहुत बहुत बधाई देना चाहूँगा इस बच्ची को।